Hello, I'm Richard Grayson, a part-time iCASP Impact Translation Fellow based in the School of Geography at the University of Leeds. Today, Jenny Armstrong, Tom Willis, Janet Richardson, Mark Trigg and myself are going to discuss how iCASP has been working with practitioners of natural flood management, or NFM for short, on a range of projects across the Yorkshire region. iCASP's involvement with NFM has evolved throughout the life of iCASP and now encompasses a wide range of projects and activities. In our NFM Monitoring and Modelling project, academics from the Universities of Leeds and York are working with a range of partners across Yorkshire who are delivering both DEFRA-funded NFM pilot projects and the West Yorkshire Combined Authorities Leeds City Region Growth Fund Growing Resilience project. This project was developed in partnership with the NFM community through a co-design workshop hosted at the University of Leeds. This workshop identified a number of evidence gaps that needed addressing and resulted in a project with three main areas of focus. Firstly, helping to evidence the effectiveness of the 7 Yorkshire-based DEFRA pilots and the Growing Resilience project through effective monitoring. Secondly, to carry out modelling to identify locations where NFM is likely to be most effective, and also to model the impact of NFM features during storm events. And thirdly, the establishment of a community of practice to bring together organisations and individuals involved in NFM from across the Yorkshire region. As part of the DEFRA NFM pilots, the Environment Agency produced guidance on how to go about evidencing the impacts of these projects, with iCASP contributing to this guidance during the consultation phase. Since then, we have worked closely with the project partners to help interpret and implement this guidance for monitoring and evaluating the DEFRA-funded natural flood management projects and to maximise the value of the evidence collected. We have also worked with the National Trust to adopt the same approaches across the growing resilience sites in the Calder and home catchments. At the same time, iCASP have produced bespoke monitoring plans for some of these projects and have provided practical help and guidance on setting up effective monitoring programmes. A great example of this is a Growing Resilience project where the National Trust commissioned a monitoring programme based on plans produced by iCASP. This powerful footage was captured by one of the time-lapse cameras installed at Western as part of this monitoring programme and demonstrates how they're an effective method for evidencing NFM. The footage shows NFM features filling and emptying in response to Storm Kira in February 2020 and was broadcast on BBC Look North in an article looking at how NFM can play a role in managing flooding.
The Natural Flood Management Community of Practice was set up as part of the main iCASP project, providing monitoring and modelling support to the DEFRA natural flood management pilots across Yorkshire. The aims of the group are outlined in the green box on the slide. Primarily, the group was created to provide a forum for NFM practitioners across the region to come together to share experiences, ideas and lessons learned, as well as creating a network to further facilitate integrated catchment management in Yorkshire. The pictures around the edge of the slide were taken at various community of practice events we've hosted over the last 18 months. With the help of the Environment Agency and other iCASP partners, we've delivered 5 events since November 18. You can see from the slide that generally there's been an increase in the number of participants and organisations represented at each event. This was with the exception of the event at Outershore, and although we had amazing weather, it was quite a long way for people to travel to the venue, which was at the very top of the Dales, so thank you goes to all those people who made the journey. The community of practice has largely developed organically, typically with an event being a day long and featuring a site visit to NFM interventions in the morning or in the afternoon, and then the other half of the day will be a themed workshop. We've had feedback that this formula works as it provides a varied day and lots of opportunity to network on the site visits and then have in-depth discussions on specific topics during the workshop sessions. We conducted a survey to find out what topics to cover over these events, and this is something that compares well with a similar exercise CABA did. So as a result, we've managed to team up with CABA to deliver the event Collingham about sustaining NFM and also the event at Bradford about the future funding for NFM. Along with many other things, COVID has somewhat interrupted the community of practice. So at the moment, we're unable to hold events in person. In lieu of this, we've hosted a number of resources on the community of practice pages on the iCASP website. And on the 22nd of June, we hosted an event with the Environment Agency to share their experiences of catchment management through the Catchment Pioneer projects in Cumbria. The iCASP project is due to end next year, so we're currently looking at avenues to secure funding for the future of the group and a home for the future of the group. So we'll keep you all updated on that one. If you'd like to host an event or have any suggestions for a topic for us to cover, please just get in touch. And equally, if you haven't been to an event and think it will be useful, again, just get in touch and we can add you to the distribution list for future events.
The Calderdale Modelling project is a parallel project to the NFM Monitoring and Modelling work, and it aims to answer specific questions which relate to the Calderdale Council's Flood Action Plan. The project is in partnership with Yorkshire Water, the Environment Agency, Calderdale Council and Yorkshire Dales River Trust. The specific questions from the Calderdale Council Flood Action Plan which form the aims of these projects are firstly to identify the connections between current land management practices and flooding. Secondly, to prioritise and target NFM interventions, as well as to evaluate existing NFM interventions for their effectiveness. And finally, to determine the effects of field boundaries on flow pathways. We've done this for 3 subcatchments of the Calderdale Valley: Hebden Water, Jumble Hole, and the Calderdale River upstream of Todmorden. In order to answer these aims, we use a hydrological model that will convert rainfall to runoff. In this project, we use a type of model called spatially distributed top model. This model allows us to define various soil and surface characteristics which influence runoff in 5-meter reference squares. The output of the model then will allow us to define where water will flow preferentially over a surface, and it will produce outputs like the one you can see on the screen. To date, we have completed 3 base models of the subcatchments, which we have created, validated and parameterized using data collected over the summer of 2019, which provided the model with soil and surface characteristic data. Further in this project, we have also looked at methods to improve the representation of NFM features within this code. Using this data and the model baseline models, we are running a set of simulations which currently aim to answer the 3 aims of the project. The overall output will be a report that will feed into the Flood Action Plan.
The next project is the Don Hidden Heritage Secret Streams project, in partnership with the Don Catchment Rivers Trust and academics from the University of Sheffield, Leeds and York. This work focused on the upper Rother portion of the catchment. The main aim of the project was to inform where volunteer-led natural flood management could be placed in the catchment that could reduce diffuse pollution, slow the flow and also increase landscape connectivity. In order to do this, we needed to consolidate the existing data available to produce hotspot maps, which are maps that show problem areas of a catchment to show where interventions will have the biggest outcomes or impacts, producing opportunity maps. There is a lot of information available to inform mapping, however it's often not in the same place and interventions are often tailored to have one main impact. So this project used open source data and GIS modelling tools to inform where interventions should be placed to target the 3 aims stated before of slowing the flow, decreasing diffuse pollution and increasing landscape connectivity. So where can the Don Catchment Rivers Trust place interventions that will tick all 3 boxes? The main impact of this work, therefore, is informing on-the-ground intervention placement, and the maps have already been used to prioritise what subcatchments the Don Catchment Rivers Trust should focus on. A range of outputs from this project will be on our website shortly, including a step-by-step methodology of how to create hotspots and opportunity maps, as well as one-page summaries related to the 3 aims of slowing the flow, decreasing diffuse pollution and increasing landscape connectivity. The next project is the Skell Payment by Results work in partnership with the Nidderdale AONB and National Trust, to help inform their HLF bid to reduce sediment loads and flooding at Fountains Abbey by implementing natural flood management across the catchment. This project was also in partnership with the Universities of Leeds and York. We use lessons learnt from several iCASP projects in this work, including the Don, Payment for Outcomes and Natural Flood Management work. The main aim of this project was to consolidate the existing evidence to produce hotspot and opportunity maps and inform where interventions should be placed across the catchment to help reduce sediment loads in the watercourse and also slow the flow and reduce flooding. This project also looked at what was needed for a payment by results scheme and how you could integrate farmer-led monitoring to inform payment bands. The report produced for this project will be available on the website shortly, and the main impact of this work will be if the HLF bid is successful and we have helped inform where on-the-ground interventions should be placed.
iCASP is also part of a consortium which is led by Mott MacDonald and appointed by Syria to develop UK national guidance on best practice in natural flood management. Syria is the Construction Industry Research and Information Association and provides many best practice guides used by professionals and practitioners across the UK. The NFM guidance is planned for release in 2021. The other organisations in the consortium are the Yorkshire Dales Rivers Trust and the River Restoration Centre. The aim is to develop up-to-date and evidence-based guidance on planning, design, construction and also ongoing maintenance of NFM, illustrated with examples and case studies. iCASP will draw on our rich experience from multiple NFM projects where we've been translating the latest research into practice, and also from the establishment of a Yorkshire-based NFM community of practice. The output will be a national Syria NFM guidance document to complement the many Syria publications. In the future, impacts will be an improved confidence in using NFM measures, reducing poor performance, and also ensuring the future realisation of the economic, environmental and social benefits that NFM can provide.
As you can see, iCASP has been involved in a large amount of NFM activities across the Yorkshire region, with impact at both the regional and national scale. If you have any questions about any of the projects or would like to join our NFM community of practice, please visit our website at icasp.org.uk or email us at icasp@leeds.ac.uk. And you can follow us on Twitter at Yorkshire iCASP. Thank you for listening.